The control icons will be on the upper right section of your screen for most users. If you haven't yet, please click the mic icon to mute yourself. You will click the same mic icon to unmute yourself later when we are ready to have conversations. We encourage you to utilize the chat throughout the session for any questions that you may have during the presentation. Our team will be monitoring the chat and responding accordingly. And again, I welcome you to the Office of Educator Effectiveness and Leadership Development, March 2023 virtual office hours. We are so glad that you could be here with us. I am Rashonda Frazier, and I am joined today by our Effectiveness Director, Lilito Monsager, and my team, Dr. Vicki Troffler, Dr. Kim Howard, Beverly Flight, Dr. Brandon Gant, and Jenny Hinke. The purpose of office hours is to hold time to ensure that we share timely reminders with districts, but even more importantly, to create a space where you can share feedback, questions, ideas, and best practices with your peers. If you are new, there's no question too small. If you are an effectiveness veteran, don't be shy about letting us know what you need. Before we get started, let's consider our opening question. How has someone on your team been helpful to you this week? And in our chat, we have a lot of shout outs to our team. We have, I have to look on the screen. If you can read some of those for me, Kim, or if anyone would like to come off of unmute and share how has someone been helpful on your team?
Yeah, I'll just say that they are showing some love to our OEELD team. Y'all don't have to do that just because we're on the line, but we do appreciate it. We love you back, and we're so glad that we can be here to help you. But feel free to continue dropping any of those in the chat while you're here. I think before we jump forward, we do want to give our new teammates a chance just to jump on and say hello. You guys may have received some correspondence from Brandon or Jenny over the past few weeks. So I just want to give them a chance to say hello before we move forward.
And I will literally say hello. So hello everyone. I'm glad to be here. I'll keep the party going.
And good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jenny Hinke, and I am really excited to be here. And I already recognize a few names, so it's nice to see some names that I've been corresponding with over this last few weeks that I've been here. And thank you all for your warm welcome. I really appreciate it.
And I want to take the time out to show my gratitude to my colleagues. There are so many, they are so supportive to me, and there are no questions that are too small. I appreciate you all for allowing me to grow and learn in this position. And that's all I have. And I just love the attitude of gratitude that we are seeing in the room today. Go ahead to the next slide for me, Beverly. On today's agenda, we have quite a few things to talk about. You already should feel welcome and feel that attitude of gratitude in the air. We're going to talk about professional learning libraries, special area reminders, and human capital, and frequently asked questions. At this time, I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Brandon Gant.
All right, so a quick look. We're going to look at the professional learning library, and our professional learning library is a library of resources for individualized learning and just to support educators across the state. It's a great use of resources that we can use, and we're going to look at a little bit sort of the data that we've seen in this first year of launch. So in the first year so far, as of February, we're able to look at the data within the professional learning library, and all educators across the state are a part of the professional learning library or have access through the professional learning library. And what we can see is we have 1,522 educators that have been registered. Now, this doesn't include the welcome to the professional learning library registration. And so in reality, there's over 75,000 registered users. But 1,522 have registered directly. And in that registration, 249 educators have completed courses, and that's 121 different courses. So we're seeing, a little bit of, we're seeing that people are interested in a number of the resources that are provided. Some of the top courses that we've had at this time have been the Recruiting, Mentoring, and Retaining Staff course, How to Create a Mentoring Program for New Teachers course, as well as the Build Your Own Video playlist. And then there's tons more. As I said, we've had over 121 courses completed as of this time today. And so we have a number of, our educators who are taking multiple courses as well. Now, to access the PLL data, the PLL lead in each district does have access to this data, and it's 3 steps. I don't want to bore you all with kind of the logistics, but simply put, on the home page, you can go to the PD admin, you can see at the top, and then it'll bring you to a dashboard in which you can access that ad hoc reporting. And then from there, you'll be able to see different types of reports, from courses to users to seeing sections and different things within your district. Now, if you want more info on how to access the PLL, I would love to spend some time with you. I would love to, set up a meeting and kind of walk you through that process so you can see how, your district has used the PLL or can use it in the future, and you'll be able to gather data through the PLL so that you can make sure, that the resource is being used effectively, and again, be able to see, what your educators are looking for across your district. And so that's my contact information. You can email me or call me. Email's a lot easier, but I do want to give that number as well, because I know some folks enjoy, making a phone call and hearing a voice.
Okay, I will pick up here. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Beverly Flythe, and I am joining you with a few special areas reminders. These are some questions we've been getting a lot in the office. Again, if you have any concerns or questions about special areas, please feel free to reach out to me directly. Our first reminder comes from the counselor and school library, the school counselor and school library plans. Just a quick calendar reminder that the school counselor plan, the student growth goal, and the school librarian plan all require preliminary conference signatures. So when you look at your dashboards, you should not see these empty circles, these empty bubbles under plan, SGG, or plan. So if you've got a school counselor that's on continuing formative, that plan bubble should be at least half filled in, as should your school counselor on a GBE. That student growth goal should at least be half filled. And your annual one summative school librarian should have at least half completed the plan under the plan. So just check your bubbles, just do a quick check and make sure that your folks are making sure those signatures are present. The next question that we've been getting a lot of is about the skip feature. And so make sure that any special areas educator on a continuing formative evaluation must have that preliminary cycle conference completed with scores showing and signatures before the proficient, with all proficient or better, before that skip final scoring conference feature will pop up and be available to you. And just a reminder that if your district chooses not to avail itself of that skip, that's perfectly fine. It is at the discretion of the district to issue the skip. And if you have any questions about special areas, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'm going to pass it over to Kim.
Thanks, Beverly. I'm going to snag the mic from Kim for a moment if she's okay with
Sorry.
that. But it's okay, unless Dr. Howard, you want to jump in. All right. Well, then I'll take the next section, which is really focused on human capital, which we know is recruitment and retention of great teachers and great leaders. And I was lucky enough, Kim and Beverly and I have been involved in a task force that was part of the 2022-23 budget process in the legislature. Proviso 1.114 established a recruitment and retention task force. And on Monday, we took a trip up to Greenville County, and the room was filled with teachers from the area, primarily from Greenville County schools, but also task force members. Listened to 31 teachers pour their heart out about what their hopes and dreams for recruitment and retention were. And unlike some people feel with some of those communities, like it's going to be full of tension, it's going to be a lot of complaining, it was completely inspiring because this was a room full of teachers who want to teach. They're desperate to stay in education. They love education, but there are some pain points that are making it hard for them to decide to stay right now. And the things that they mentioned, primarily smaller class sizes, support for students that need a lot of behavioral support, are things that in normal times are very logical and easy to tackle. And we could spend some of our extra money to get some extra teachers and reduce those class sizes. But one of the things that makes it really, really hard in this moment is we are in a crisis where we're not able to recruit as many people into our profession. And we know that recruitment and retention have to be part of the solution. So this next section is just a small part of an effort we are trying to make so that you can make the case for the strategies you need to use for recruitment and retention in your district. Some of this information has already been shared with instructional leaders and HR leaders. It'll be coming out in a memo next week, but we wanted to give you the preview directly since you guys are our closest contacts. What you'll see on this slide is our theory of action for what is our office going to do around trying to help this issue of recruiting and retaining great teachers and great leaders. And our theory and our focus has really been if we can help school leaders create schools where teachers want to stay, schools that attract and develop and retain great talent, then eventually we'll see less of a disparity between classrooms with effective teachers because we'll see that schools are filled with folks that want to stay. For a long time, on the right side, you'll see our office strategies. We've been working directly in our leadership development programs, talking with principals about how they retain folks, how they can be advocates within the hiring process, how they make their schools a destination school. We've always run the principal induction program and given support to induction and mentoring in conjunction with Sarah. But we've really shifted. These last two bullet points represent the shift in our office to really targeting support. This year's the first year we've ever offered a network, especially for principals who want to work on the skills, just talking about their role in recruiting and retaining great talent. And we have several of you have sent your principals to us for this year for that, and we appreciate that. We have a group of 5 districts who have been bold enough to let us sit beside them as they are making their strategic plans around recruitment and retention, and we're learning a lot. But the last bullet point is what I really want to talk to you about today, and that's what data can the state share with you that might help you even in your analysis of decreasing disparities in access to effective teaching. And those of you who do your annual ADEPT plan know that this is a shift that happened as early as the 2021 school year, and those ADEPT plans, planning for that year, we had you look at that human capital report inside of SC Lead. And although that report gives you a lot of information about effective teachers, which highly effective teachers, which schools they're in, which of your schools have higher percentages of induction teachers, we wanted to do more. And so what I'm about to share with you is a resource that hopefully gives you even more of that state level human capital data in one place and is easily shared with other stakeholders in your district who might not be as on the ground as you are every day with that data about where teachers are staying, where they're going. So on the next slide is a preview of what this is. It's a human capital data dashboard, and it brings together information from the report card, information from SC Lead, information from the yearly climate surveys that are given to teachers. It has 3 tabs. The first tab is student demographics. It will automatically be sorted by district, but it has little tabs that you can disaggregate different student qualities. So you can do it by sort by student population and find out which schools are of a similar size to the school I'm interested in analyzing, which districts serve a similar number of students as we serve. You can disaggregate by gender, race, pupils in poverty, multilingual learners, students with disabilities. And so that can sometimes also help you look at places that are serving a similar student profile to you. The teacher demographics tab allows you to do something similar with teachers. So you can look at total teacher population, number of teachers within the district, or split up by schools and school level. And then you can also look at teachers by race and by gender. There's also on the student tab, I think, student teacher ratio. You can check that out. If we can head back to the last slide, I have some more to tell you about the dashboard. So the workforce outlook tab is the tab that I think is probably going to be most interesting to you because it brings together those features of the workforce, like number of years experience for your principals, number of years percentages of teacher induction, percentages of teachers out of field, those returning statistics, and those vacancy statistics. So if we head to the next slide, we've been able to pull some state level data on vacancies and returning. So if we can just click over, there we go. When we look across the state for the past 4 years, we hear a lot about teacher shortages and changes in the workforce, but our percentages of teachers returning to schools from the previous year, according to that SC Educator data, is pretty solid. The difference is we're starting to see more of a discrepancy between schools that are bringing back most of their faculty and then schools that are only bringing back, say, in 21, 22, the lowest school only brought back about 60% of their faculty. So that's where we see those discrepancies coming in. We also do see, when we talk about patterns changing, the percentages of positions that are open for more than 9 weeks that shows up on the report card, that has been creeping up and up and up since 2018. And so it's hard to move a statewide average, but when I see something go from in the ones to in the twos, that tells me that we've seen some changes. If we go to the next slide, I think that's the directions. That's one more data point we want to show you. If you are interested in sorting and seeing where your district is compared to other districts, for any of these tabs, if you click on the little 3 dots in the corner, you can sort ascending or descending. And if you use the little arrows that are pointing down, you can drill down to the next level. So you can just select your district and then drill down to the schools in your district. So these are 2 examples from 1920 and 2021, the top 9 districts in terms of percentages of vacancies greater than 9 weeks. So our highest district in South Carolina had 24.7% of positions in PowerSchool were shown as vacancies. And then the lowest percentage of teachers returning, we also sorted for that, and we saw we had one school, again, where they had about 66% of their teachers returning, meaning they had about 30 something, almost 40% of their teachers were new. And you need a lot more support in a place where you have that much turnover. So we're hoping by giving you graphs that show this data, it may be helpful for you either as you write strategic plans, as you're doing presentations, or as you're just getting a sense of where your district is and maybe some districts, other districts that maybe have a handle on something that you could learn from. So what I'll do right now is just show to you where you can find this. So I'll pop out and steal the sharing from Beverly for just a moment. Again, we'll send a memo out with this information, but if you just go to ed.sc.gov and then click on login, your superintendents, your instructional leaders, your HR directors, your folks listed in DEIMS as the ADEPT contact for your district, your PDEP contacts for the districts, your instructional folks will have a new button that says Human Capital Dashboard. So you'll just click right on that inside the Member Center. And then it will bring up this dashboard. So again, on the first page, you can see student demographics. You can drill down by district, and then you can even drill down if you just want to look at a specific school. You can click on that school, and you can use the search bar to find a school. All of these tabs have different disaggregation. So if you want to look in the state, we're mostly 50 male, 50% female, but it does vary from school to school. And then tabs for all of these different demographics for students. For teachers, we do have gender and race, and then that student-teacher ratio, if you want to compare that across schools. And then that Workforce Outlook tab is where you can sort by things like principal experience, percentages of teachers out of field, etc. Right now, there's just 1 year of data in here. It's 2020, 2021. By this Friday, and before the memo comes out next week, I've been told that the 5 years of data that we have pulled will be available. And I will just say this is not a labor of love that just involved our office. We had to work together with folks from certification, our Office of Research and Data Analysis, folks from our project management team to put this together. But we hope that access to this data will be useful for you or someone in your district. Again, it's just our first try at compiling this data in one place. So if you have feedback on it and what would be most useful to you, something you'd like to see in the second draft of this tool, please just let us know. I will tell you the one tab that's not working quite the way I want it to yet is the climate tab. We've pulled out 2 questions that we know are on the survey but not on the report card that are highly correlated to teacher retention. I feel supported by administrators at my school, and I am satisfied with my current working conditions. And those are not yet click downable by school, but I'm hoping that they will very soon. We'll have that school level data loaded into there. So that's all I have for the Human Capital Dashboard. When we do questions at the end, if you have questions about it, if you've been playing in it or someone in your district has seen it and wants to know, please let me know. But now I am going to toss the mic to Kim for frequently asked questions.
All right, and I know we do have a question in the chat in regards to access, so we'll get to that in just a moment, but I do want to share a couple FAQs before we open the floor for your questions. And the first one you see here on the screen, what contract do we offer to educators who have been issued internship certificates? And that question is still coming up even though we're late in the year, but you'll see the answer here. If the educator has received an internship certificate, they should receive a letter of agreement. They are not yet eligible for an induction contract. Remember that educators on internship certificates are still students. So although they don't qualify for an induction contract or require a trained mentor, someone in the building should be offering them some support. We want them to have a positive experience in that year because our goal is to retain them. So we do want to offer as much support as we can. All right. And then the second FAQ you see here is in regards to this PLL library that you've heard so much about. The question that we're getting is, why is there a course called Welcome to the SC Educator Professional Learning Library? And this course is showing for educators who have not been assigned a course, they've not signed up for anything, they really haven't even been in there probably. Well, the answer is that this course has been assigned to every user. It allows the Manage My Courses button to appear on the user's screen. It does not require the user to complete any coursework. It's just simply a way to access the options and the features that are available in the library. So those were the FAQs that we have for you. We're going to open the floor for your questions. We're going to stick around so that we're here to hear what your needs are. So any questions or feedback you have for us, please feel free to hop on the mic at this time or drop it in the chat. And I will flip it back over to Rashonda.
All right, the floor is open for questions. And if anyone wants to unmute.
I'm
And I s-
happy to unmute for the question with Emily, Rashonda.
Okay.
Emily's asking, can you share what data sources were used to create the dashboard? Absolutely, and this is something we would love feedback on. We tried to make it so if you hover in a tab over the data point, it will tell you exactly where it came from. As with labeling any kind of dashboard, sometimes that feels undercover or it's hard to find. So definitely give us feedback on how that works for you. But the data sources include the 180-day student count report that is given by districts for those student demographic information pieces. The South Carolina report cards for teachers out of field principals level, principals years of experience, some of, let me just pull up the dashboard so I know the other data points that are there. So the SC report card, the human capital report inside of SC Lead for the induction teachers tab, and then the results of the climate survey, 2 of the climate survey questions were the data points there. For Daniel's question, he's not seeing access to that application. If anyone else is not, I can see, Daniel, you are listed as the adept contact in your district. So you should have access. So that's something I can go ahead and do an e-ticket with our team just to make sure that that role has been clicked on for the dashboard and just double check that access for you.
And can you send that for Lee also?
Absolutely. And if there's anyone else, just let me know. It should be in your member center. They told me it was, but y'all know how this works sometimes. I just need to ask the right questions to the right folks.
Okay. So if there, I'm sorry, my computer is refreshing. So if there aren't any more questions at this time, we're going to stick around. We'll be on for quite a little longer. Can you change the slide? Here's our contact information. If you will have any additional questions or would like to send feedback, you can contact us here. For all the information you see on the slide there. And we look forward to seeing you at the next virtual office hours on April 5th. You guys have an amazing day.
Well, and for folks who don't have access to the dashboard, I'm going to give y'all just a link to get to it. So you have it now today from being here at office hours, but anyone who's putting that they don't see it in the chat, just don't worry. I will put you in a ticket and you'll be included in that. But you can just click directly on this link to access it as well. We just ask that you don't share it with like members of the press or put it out there. None of it is private information, but we just don't want folks to be able to do the visualizations and the sorting without context for where this data is coming from.